Hey everyone, Sleepy Reader here with a back issue haul video. No keys, no big books, just odd things that I'm collecting for runs I'm working on. All of this comes from a anniversary sale at a very cool but kind of expensive comic book shop on the other side of Portland. They had a sale this past weekend, and I went there, and unfortunately I did not have my phone with me, so I did not have my CLZ app, and that made me very nervous. And in fact, I did buy a few comics that I already had. One I bought that I knew already had is Cull number 2 from 1970, I guess. The first issue drawn by the Severins, Marie and John Severin. Beautiful stuff. I already have a copy, but it's a really beat up copy, so this looked a little nicer. So at half off, at 50% off for the sale, seemed like a good price. A lot of the prices are so bad at this store that even at 50% off, they don't seem worth it. Like, for instance, I mean, this is most egregious. They have issues of like Warren's Spirit. Here, like this Spirit from the 70s for $60 a piece. So half off for this would have been $30, and I can get these things for about $6 in other places. But anyway, so I look for things that A, I want, and B, that at the 50% off price are still worth it to me. Yeah, this does seem in better condition than my older copy, and I love the Cull artwork by Marie and John Severin. It really is something to behold. Now, the first issue with art by Ross Andrew and Wally Wood is pretty awesome too, but I really love that. I don't know how many issues they did, maybe only like 6 or 7. I think I have the complete Cull run from this period, but I have several issues, including number 1, that I want to replace with nicer copies. And then they had a whole bunch of Ka-Zars, most of them at $5 a piece. This is the second volume of Ka-Zar, but I think it's mostly or all original material. Maybe just mostly original material with some reprints. And I'm being distracted by a game player in the background. But anyway, what was I saying? So at $5 a piece, half of that, $2.50, I thought it was worth it. But I ended up grabbing some Ka-Zars that I already had. I'm not sure which ones, but about half of what I got, I already had. That looks like a nice John Romita cover. In full, John Romita does Kirby mode, but maybe it's someone else. Is there any signature? So yeah, this was the early to mid 70s, I think. Number 12, number 13. I can't right off the top of my head tell who did that one. It almost looks like it was inked by Klaus Janson, or very much looks like it was inked by the early Klaus Janson, but I can't say for sure. Yeah, a lot of these covers I can't recognize the artists. I'm not sure who that's by. Here's one number. So that was 13 and 14. Number 15. That's a cool cover by Gil Kane, inked by someone with a heavy hand. Maybe Klaus Janson again, or someone along those lines. Could even be Dick Giordano. Another mystery one, number 19, and I'm a bit surprised. I feel like I usually can recognize all the artists from this period. Number 19, and number 17, had them out of order. Flying Sharks, you can't beat A Sky Full of Fear with the Flying Sharks from Ka-Zar. And then I thought I had all the Commandees, but I was looking at my CLZ a few days ago and saw that I would not mark down for Commandee 59, the final issue of Commandee. So at $9, $4.50, that's probably overpriced. This is probably should be $1 or $2, but I just thought, well, just to make sure I have my Commandy run complete, I'll grab this. I wouldn't be surprised if I find I do have a copy of this laying around somewhere, but bird in the hand, grab it. Oh, wait, talk about disorganization. Here's 2 more Ka-Zars. Number 12, definitely a Gil Kane cover. In fact, it has the signature. Maybe it's inked by Gil Kane, too. Pardon the wrinkly bag. Got to put all these babies in Mylar. And number 11, another Gil Kane cover. Looks like someone else inked that one, but I can't quite say who did ink it. Then I got a few more of my Silver Age Superman family stuff that I collect a lot. 1 issue of Lois Lane, Superman's girlfriend, or Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. $7. That's kind of reasonable for these books. I usually find them anywhere from $5 to $10. If they're higher, I don't usually buy them. I wait and try to find. I mean, sometimes you see people pricing these kinds of things at $20, $30. But anyway, looks like Lois Lane's getting transformed and is going to out-superhero Superman. We'll see what it's really like on the inside. And then I got 3 issues of Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal, in the Go-Go checks. So this one would have been $6. Jimmy Olsen and the Batman Superman of Earth X. I wonder if this inspired one of those episodes of the Brave and Bold cartoon where I remember Batman gaining Superman powers on a different planet that I think was called Planet X or something, but can't remember for sure. So this is number 93.
All these different planets called Planet X.
From sometime in the 60s. Yes, they often have planets called Planet X. My great sidekick is nearby playing Sims.
Yes, I'm playing Sims 4.
Adding some commentary. I don't know if you can hear her. This one was at a nicer price, number 102. These are all for reading, not for collecting, certainly not for slabbing. I mean, they are for collecting the way I collect, but I collect them to read. And I enjoy having runs, so who knows if I'll get to read everything in the run, but in theory, I collect them to read, and I like to have the run. So this is, I probably already said the number, 102. It's hard to see the numbers on these covers. And Jimmy Olsen, I guess, is being double-crossed by Superman, sent to the asylum. And finally, I really like the looks of this cover. A little beat up. This is number 105. And it looks like it's on another planet. And it's called The World of 1,000 Olsens. I feel like I've seen maybe a cartoon adaptation of this too, where it looks familiar. Looks like all the different versions of Jimmy we've seen on one planet. So that should be cool. Now, I only have 1 or 2 much later issues of Cheval Noir. And they had issues 1 through, I don't know. They had starting with issue 1, but issue 1 was $15. And now I think I'm going to regret it that I didn't grab issue 1. So $15 out of $7.50. I just grabbed issue 2 because this only cost me $2.50. That looks like a Jeff Darrow cover to me. So I've got issue 2. Oops. Issue 3. Issue 4. And issue 5. That almost looks like a Mobius cover. I assume it's not. Someone drawing a bit in one of Mobius's styles. So I haven't cracked these open yet. I have a feeling I'll wish I bought even more of them. And then I'm slowly collecting a full run of the Hulk magazine. And there were a lot of issues there that I might have bought, but I suspected that I owned them already. As I said, I didn't have my CLZ app with me. But, and I was correct. The 2 I got I did not already have. Issue 21. Originally it was called Rampaging Hulk. And eventually they changed it to just Hulk, and eventually they made it color. It was black and white. I think I like the black and white issues best. It has some amazing artists in it, like Walt Simonson and Alfredo Alcala. Let's see what's inside here. Let's see if it's black and white or color. Yeah, it's color. Looks good. A little faded. I wonder who the artist is. Bob McLeod on his own. Pencils, inks, colors, and lettering. That's interesting. I know very little. I guess Bob McLeod was the penciler on the New Mutants, was he? But I'm mostly familiar with him as an inker. This looks like a lot of fun. And anything written by Doug Moench is worth a look. And then at the back, a Howard Chaykin. Interesting. It's probably not Hulk. Dominic Fortune by Howard Chaykin. Howard Chaykin's art is really hit or miss for me. More often a miss. Let's look. I'm going to look inside Hulk number 23 also. Terrible cover in my opinion, but what you going to do? Got to have every issue. Plus there still might be great stuff inside. I'm soon going to be getting some Mylar magazine size bags because my magazine collection is... Ooh, looks like some Alfredo Alcala inking. Oh, written by Jim Shooter, art by John Buscema, Alfredo Alcala, and Steve Oliff. I assume Steve Oliff was the colorist. Buscema and Alcala is a favorite combo. So, we'll see. And Jim Shooter is usually pretty good. I usually like a Jim Shooter script. Maybe more... I particularly like it when he's come back to comics in recent years. And this is another story. Who did the art here? Brent Anderson and John Tartaglione. And a Roger Stern script. I like that. It's called Clothes Call. A little bit of a pun title. And more Howard Chaykin. So the Clothes Call is just a short story. And then we get more Dominic Fortune, which to me looks like a mess. But Howard Chaykin's a genius, right? I should learn to get into him. Then I got a bunch of Doc Savages. Number 2. I've opened this one up and started reading it. It has a... don't annoy me, computer. It has a Tony DeZunia penciled and inked story. I'm going to look in... I've got number 3. They didn't have number 1 there. I'm pretty sure I own number 1, even though when I looked now at my CLZ app, it didn't show it there. So there's some stuff I still haven't put into CLZ. Frenzy in a Frozen Hell. Doug Moench script. John Buscema and Tony DeZunia doing the art, so that's a real ideal. As much as I like Tony DeZunia and Alfredo Alcala, when they do their own penciling, it's just not as fun and as exciting as when they're over someone like John Buscema. Although this looks relatively low-key for John Buscema. Oh, and it looks in the back. Do we have Rudy Nubres? Or how do we pronounce his name? I'm sorry. Rico Rival. He must have been another one of those wonderful Philippine artists. Sorry, I'm distracted by the singing behind me sometimes. So I'm not really familiar with his name, but I'm just assuming from the style it has that Philippine look. Rico Rival. So it seems odd now that Doc Savage was such a big deal. And I don't know, they gave him his own color magazine and then his own black and white magazine. Neither one lasted very long, but they must have thought it was a big deal to get the Doc Savage license. Probably because all the older writers grew up with Doc Savage as one of the top pulps. So they assumed it would be a top thing then. And also a Doc Savage movie had come out starring Ron Ely, which they make a big deal about in these magazines.
What's Ron Ely?
Ron Ely was an actor that no one remembers anymore. He played Tarzan. He was most famous for playing Tarzan, I think. This one is story by Doug Monch, art by Tony DeZunia, but with 8 pages penciled by Marie Severin. One often has the sense it's a great shame that Marie Severin didn't do more penciling. Whether she was happy being on the office staff at Marvel, or whether maybe that was a good economic choice for her, or whether it was because of sexism in the industry that she couldn't get enough penciling, I don't know. I've heard people imply that she would have been one of the top artists had there not been the kind of sexism that apparently existed in comics back then, and in society in general, of course. But I don't know. I mean, maybe she was just choosing the economically wise move, as several male artists did too, of becoming staff artists. She designed lots of covers and things like that without getting any credit that the rest of us readers know about. For those of you less interested in Doc Savage, this is number... I apologize. I'm just interested in cracking all these open, so I'm doing it on camera. Number 5. I like that cover. Something a bit odd about the way they paint Doc Savage, and I think it goes back probably to his pulp days and how they painted him on the covers there. This one is pure Tony DeZunia art. I keep saying DeZunia. It's DeZuniga. But as a kid, I always pronounced it DeZunia, and I can't get that out of my head. So totally my dyslexia as a child. DeZuniga. It's very obviously DeZuniga, but let's see. This looks like very good Tony DeZuniga art. Maybe all of these are written by Doug Monch, both the Hulks and the Doc Savage. That guy did a lot of work, and in my memory, it was always good. Whenever I saw his name attached to a project, just kind of like whenever I saw Roy Thomas's name attached to a project, I was going to have a good time. Or Marv Wolfman. But as a kid, I always focused on the artists. Val Mayrick, or however you pronounce his name, Val Mayrick and Tony DeZunia. It looks like Mayrick's usually pretty distinctive styled artwork may be kind of overshadowed more than a little by DeZunia's inking. Although that face here has a Val Mayrick look. I used to like Val Mayrick quite a bit, and I think he comes off usually stronger, especially if he's inking himself in or an inker that's more faithful to his pencils in black and white. Sometimes his work seemed odd in the color superhero comics, but for horror comics or other odd things, it's in the back here. I think this may be all one long Doc Savage. I used to be super excited about these novel-length stories in the black and white magazines. Okay, so that's it for the Doc Savages I bought, number 7. So I'm just missing number 6, I guess. And I don't know how long this went on, but probably just another issue or two after this. And then I found something I had never heard of and was very excited to find. And CLZ tells me that there are only 5 issues of this. It's called Aces from Acme Press and Eclipse, and it's reprints of European comics in black and white. So at half price, I got these for $2 a piece. The cover price was $2.95. I wonder when these were published. Probably late 80s. 1988. Yep. So, I am not familiar with the artists listed here, although it immediately looks like European art, and I don't know if it was originally meant to be published in black and white. Let's see. So that series, Airmail. What's the next one? Hollywood Eye. I wonder if all of these European comics take place in the United States. I wonder how Europeans would feel if all American comics took place in Europe. That looks very cool. R.I.P. So that's issue 1. Issue 2. It looks like maybe these will be like continuing the same stories from issue to issue until they reprint the entire album of a given thing. There's issue 3. And although the names on here on this cover look a bit different. Issue 4. So too bad this didn't catch on, but I'm not surprised it didn't. It was, for the time, kind of a high price. The artists were all unfamiliar. It was in black and white. Didn't have that sex appeal of heavy metal. There's Hollywood Eye. Dieter Lumpen by Jorge Zenter and Ruben Pelejero. I don't know. Totally guessing there. Here's some of the artwork. All of this looks very nice on the eye, but I particularly like this one. Let me show us. Sometimes I think I flash things by too quickly. Other times I'm worried if I hold it up very long, it gets boring because I'm running out of things to say. Eclipse Comics certainly did lots of Hollywood Eye, lots of very noble experiments, you might say. What else is in here?
Seriously, she passed out.
And Airmail. Okay. So it looks like each issue maybe had 3 or possibly 4 continuing stories. So hopefully someday I'll find issue 5. And then I was extra surprised to find Hot Stuff for only $5. I remember seeing ads for this, I think, in other fanzines or something. Mostly professional artists, I believe, going for a more adult, mature approach, which back then meant topless women. Seems pretty silly now. But anyway, the art looks really cool. Let me see if I can show you. So some of the people involved are Ken Barr, Richard Corbin, Gray Morrow, Mike Vosberg, Furshid Barucha, Ed Manley, Bill Maher, I assume that's a different Bill Maher, Robert Klein, Neil Adams, Will Mignon, Gray Morrow, Ernie Colin, and more Ken Barr. Ken Barr did the back cover. And let's see, there's the Neil Adams. See, he gets to be mature there. I'm particularly excited to find more Gray Morrow. I love Gray Morrow, but I don't find his artwork in very many places. And I love his paintings on science fiction books. There's some other Gray Morrow. And, well, anyway, this will be interesting. Maybe I'll do a video about this after I've read it. That was Hot Stuff number 2. I wonder how many Hot Stuffs there were. And then also exciting to me, and I didn't really know about, I knew about Hembeck, so this is Ba Hembeck number 4. I knew about Hembeck from cartoons he did at the backs of Marvel and DC Comics and a few one-shot issues he did for Marvel. I guess I also used to see his cartoons in other fanzines in my early fanzine days, if my memories serve properly, like maybe in the Comic Book Buyer's Guide occasionally. So it looks like this is from 1980. I don't know if that's Hembeck art right there. Looks like someone else's. It's not the style I associate with Hembeck. Oh, I guess it is Hembeck. He can do various styles. So I think we're getting his spoofs of various publishers. I don't know if these are reprints. These almost look like they might be reprints of one-page strips he did in places where I originally saw them, like Comic Book Buyer's Guide, or no, this Jimmy Olsen one's going on much longer. I wonder what the feeling at DC Comics was about these. I guess is it fair use? I mean, later he just drew for them, or maybe before this. The Flash a la Infantino. Interesting. I mean, it is totally a fanzine. Like Bah Humbug, but it's Bah Hembeck because his last. Oh, and now we're getting the FF meet the Submariner via Hembeck's style. Look how many panels there are per page and how many words there are per panel. Holy cow. Dr. Doom. So the pages feel slightly water damaged here, but I got it for $3 and I'd never stumbled across one of these before. So since I like to go after a run, I'll have to keep looking for these. So yeah, I guess we got kind of the Marvel cover on the front, DC style Bah Hembeck on the back, jokes on different color Supermen, I guess. So thanks for joining me. As usual, I went on much longer than I had hoped, but it was fun, and I much prefer to open things up and show art when I can. I need to figure out how to handle cameras so I could really display art well, the way Earl Grey does. I don't know how Earl Grey does that. Talk to you all later.